Hey everybody, White Bear Dan here, coming to you from a truck on a Valentine's Day. Figured today would be an appropriate day to talk about when is the best time to get divorced. Let's talk about it. So one of the big things, I guess, that comes up a lot for anybody, in the thinking about getting divorced is when is it time? When is it appropriate to get divorced? When it comes to divorce, and you look at it from both a male and a female perspective, the issues that come up that are the things that are reasons for divorce seem to be the same across the board. As always, if you're getting divorced, I always highly suggest contact a lawyer. Always a good idea. But to get into it, like the first thing, if you're in a situation where you're being abused, of course, obviously that is like the number one reason to seek a divorce, whether it's physical, mental, verbal, any of that stuff. Like, no, check out, like anybody, male, female, that is an absolutely, non-negotiable. The second thing that I see a lot come up is when there is zero communication or you're no longer fighting about things. I know for me, that was one of the things that was always an issue in my marriage. Like towards the end, we just weren't communicating. If you're not communicating, if you're not even having any sort of interaction, good or bad, probably not a good situation for you. Like, time to move on. Another thing is the how do they make you feel when you see them? Like, there are some times when you see your ex or your current spouse or whatever situation you're in, and you just have that feeling that like gets your heart racing. That is just not a good time, and that would be a really good indicator of it is time to get a divorce. If that person is giving you an emotional reaction just by the sight of them, not a good scene. And conversely, if every time you see them, you want to start something, start a fight, push a button, be degrading, be condescending, like all of those things, when it's terrible and you're forced to be with somebody, because sometimes it feels like you're being forced. I think the biggest thing to recognize is you have free will. Hopefully you're never in a situation where you can't leave, but the idea of how much are you going to take? What is it out of all these issues that come up that's going to push you over the edge to finally be like, you know what? That's it. I've had enough. It's time for me to move on. Time to get out, hit the road. I know, if you're sitting there and you're struggling with thinking about getting divorced, one of the hardest things I know for me was this idea of sitting around and like leaving everything, right? I had to leave my kids behind, the house that we're working on, like all the stuff that you had built over the years of a marriage. You're now deciding you're going to just throw it to the wind. Like, I had to really just kind of disconnect for everything, like material. Literally, I left everything behind, and for months, I still think my ex-wife sells stuff of it. But that's all right. It's just stuff. Like, I needed to move on from me. I can always replace stuff. I can't replace me. I can't replace my mental health. I can't replace my, whatever it is, my place in the world, if I'm all hung up on what I'm going to lose by walking away from a really terrible situation. So I think that was really a big hump for me. It's like, don't be afraid to walk away from stuff because, it might hurt to lose those things. I find it now, like having done, been a little bit further along my journey, that it is much more important that I was able to just start over fresh and be me and be, authentic to what I wanted to do with my life and not be held down to the things I was going to lose. So that is the thing. It's a fear you have to overcome. And listen, whatever, I go through more things that you get, the reasons for getting divorced and why you should walk away from it. But at the end of the day, it's really important that, you realize that you're doing this to make yourself better. Whatever, even for me as, being a better father now that I'm divorced, I have my moments, but it is what it is. And you have to be able to kind of overcome that fear, whatever issues that come up. I think that the other part of it too is especially why some marriages stay, that some people stay married longer than they really should have. I remember getting divorced the first time, and I remember the lawyer telling me, bad marriages are not like fine wine. They do not get better with age. And he was so right. Like, if it's a bad marriage, it's a bad marriage. And, 90% of people who get separated wind up getting divorced. I don't even know the stats, off the top of my head when it comes to like couples going to therapy and marriage counseling. But that's only going to work if both of you want something to work. Any therapy is not going to work if one person's not bought into it and the other person's, really wants to make it work. The other thing is, the thing I didn't bring up here is like cheating. Listen, here's the thing about cheating. If you're cheating, you're pretty much out of the relationship anyway. You're just kind of looking for a way to kind of put a nail in the coffin as far as I'm concerned. That's another reason people will end marriages, and by all means, that's a totally legit reason. If somebody's cheating on you, you should end the marriage. I would too. And, but the thing is it, like, if somebody is cheating, that other person has checked out of that relationship a long time ago, and for whatever reason, there's millions of reasons why people cheat and do things, and now listen, that goes both ways. Men and women both cheat, so it is not just a thing that's kind of guys cheat. Everybody cheats, or those who cheat. It's not specific to one sex or the other, but this thing that's constant is that person is checked out of the relationship. They didn't find something there was something in that relationship that wouldn't fulfill them. There's a reason why 50% of marriages don't work out, and a lot of it is these issues that come up. The biggest issue, I think, for a lot of marriages is that somewhere along the line, you and your spouse stop walking that same journey. I think that is more like probably the biggest reason why we get married, is because you found somebody who wants to share the journey with you, whether it's building, making a family, building a business, putting a life together, traveling the world together. But you and this other person have decided that you want to build something together and walk that journey together, and that's the reason you got married. My marriage fell apart when we were no longer on the same journey together, or where I no longer felt like, she had my back. Those are big reasons for just it not working. And then when you don't have that, then it's very easy to just gravitate towards somebody who might have it, or you just find somebody on that journey while you're on that journey and somebody sharing that path with you. So there is just a lot of reasons why, things kind of happen that way. And I think the other thing about like cheating is, this is not really a thing about cheating, but that part of you that wants to be with somebody, it's not just that you're cheating on somebody, it's that it's the desire to share an experience with somebody overwhelms the other part of it. So I think that's what we miss sometimes, is that it doesn't really matter that you might love somebody dearly, but the desire to kind of travel and move in a direction is so it's got such a pull on you that it will make you do things. It'll make you do things that that can destroy your life. Like always, thanks for stopping by. Thanks for watching this video. Please consider subscribing. I don't know what your issue was to get divorced, but we all kind of found one or two or several, but there was something that made you say, you know what, I've had enough. Whatever it is, I hope that was the thing that sparked the next big part of your journey. Peace out, everybody. Take care.